I knew something was wrong the moment I opened the bank app and saw my balance sitting at $14.27, when there should have been over $42,000. For a full 5 seconds, I couldn't breathe. My hand shook so hard I nearly dropped my phone. That money wasn't just savings, it was my whole future. My whole shot at finally starting the small catering business I'd been dreaming about for years. And the only person who had access to the account was my niece, Aaliyah. My chest tightened. I called her, praying it was some glitch, praying she'd pick up with that soft, guilty laugh she always had when she messed something up. But the phone rang once, twice, and straight to voicemail. I called again, straight to voicemail. I texted her, emergency, call me. The message turned green, not delivered. That's when the cold truth slid down my spine. She blocked me, my own niece. The girl I practically helped raise when her mama was working double shifts. The one who used to follow me around the kitchen asking when she could stir the cornbread batter. The one who came to me crying when her boyfriend broke her heart. The one who promised me, swore on my mama's grave, that she'd help me get the paperwork and licensing done for our catering launch. She said she needed the money in her name because her credit was better. She told me, Auntie, I got you. We in this together. Together. Right. Now $42,000 of blood, sweat, sacrifice, and prayer was gone. I stumbled to the couch, dropping into it like my legs couldn't hold me. Outside, kids were laughing. Somebody's dog barking. Normal life continuing like mine hadn't just fallen apart. My heart thudded painfully against my ribs as I scrolled through the account history. One massive wire transfer to a name I didn't recognize, done early this morning. She waited until the money was fully cleared, then emptied the whole account. Aaliyah, baby, why? The whisper escaped before I realized it, that the silence of my apartment didn't answer back. I called her mama, my sister Renee. She answered with her usual attitude-laced hello, like I'd interrupted something important. Renee, where's Aaliyah? I asked, voice trembling. She sighed loud like I was exhausting her. Girl, she grown. She probably at Marcus's house or something. Why? My stomach flipped. She took all the business money. A beat of silence. Then Renee snapped, what money? The $42,000. The startup money for the catering. She cleaned out the account. And now she's not answering me. Another pause. And in that pause, I heard something new in her breathing. Not surprise, but fear. Renee, you knew something, didn't you? I ain't got time for this. I told you not to trust nobody with that much money, especially not no 24-year-old girl. That's on you, sis. On me. Those words sliced through me sharper than the betrayal itself. Are you serious right now? She robbed me. Well, Renee said, her tone shifting into something too calm, too prepared. Maybe this is God telling you that business wasn't gonna work anyway. I froze. My sister had never believed in my dream. And suddenly I wondered if she had pushed Aaliyah into something. My mind spiraled. Had they planned this together? Had Renee been whispering about my easy money into her daughter's ear? Renee, I need to talk to Aaliyah, I said firmly. This is serious. I could call the police. You ain't calling nobody. Aaliyah ain't steal nothing. Y'all was partners, right? Business partners. So she just used the money first. You'll get it back when she flips it. My skin iced. I said she blocked me. She took everything. What part of that sounds like she's flipping anything for me? Renee scoffed. That girl don't owe you her whole life just because you helped her when she was little. She wanted a chance too. Maybe she got tired of waiting on you. Tears blurred my vision. Renee, please, just tell me where she is. You need to stop blowing up my phone. Aaliyah will reach out when she's ready. And then she hung up. My phone slid from my hand onto the couch. My breaths came shallow and fast. Not only had Aaliyah taken my money, my own sister was defending her, covering for her, acting like I was the problem. A wave of dizziness hit me as I tried to think straight. Do I call the police? Do I go to Renee's house? Do I track down Aaliyah's boyfriend? Something inside me screamed that I needed to move, to do something, or this would spiral beyond repair. But right before I could stand, there was a loud banging on my front door. 3 hard, urgent knocks. My heart jumped into my throat. Whoever was on the other side wasn't being polite. I stood slowly because I already knew deep down this wasn't going to be good. I crept toward the door, each footstep heavy, like the floor was trying to warn me. My breath trembled in my chest, but I kept moving. Whoever was knocking wasn't tapping. This was the kind of knock that demands to be answered, the kind that comes with consequences if you don't. I pressed my eye to the peephole. My stomach dropped. It was Marcus, Aaliyah's on and off boyfriend. The same Marcus who worked odd jobs, lived in his cousin's basement, and always had that look like he was calculating something. He had a reputation, money disappearing around him, friends falling out with him over loans they never got back. Stories that sounded too convenient to be true. Why was he here? I hesitated, praying maybe he'd just go away, but he pounded even harder. "I see your lights on, Miss Tony. Open the door." My blood ran cold. How did he even know where I lived? I unlocked the door halfway and kept the chain on. "What do you want, Marcus?" He leaned close, sweat glistening on his forehead. His voice dropped to a low, irritated growl. "Where's Aaliyah?" I blinked. "You're looking for her?" He scoffed. "She told me she was coming to your place this morning, said y'all had business to handle." My heart twisted. "She hasn't been here. She stole the business money and disappeared." He paused, just long enough for me to catch it, a flicker in his eyes, a spark of something like understanding or guilt. "Stole," he repeated slowly. "Yes," I said. "Every dollar." She cleaned out the account. He rubbed the back of his neck, stepping away from the door. "Look, I'm trying to find her too. She took something from me." "What did she take?" I asked carefully. He shook his head. "Don't matter. All I know is she better show up with what she owe." My skin prickled. "Marcus, what did you get her involved in?" He glared at me. "Don't start with that judgment. You act like you raised an angel. Girl been lying since she was 16. He exhaled sharply. "Whatever she did, I ain't got nothing to do with your money. I just need her to pick up her phone." I almost believed him. Almost, but something in the way he shifted, the way his eyes darted to my hallway as if checking for movement, made me uneasy. "Look," I said firmly, keeping my voice steady, "I'm dealing with enough right now. If you're not here to help, I need you to leave." He stepped forward suddenly, pressing his palm against the door. "Miss Tony, listen. If she hits you up, you call me. Immediately. You hear me?" The aggression in his tone made my spine stiffen. "I'm not calling anybody until I know what's going on." He smirked, a cold, humorless smirk. "Suit yourself. But when she comes crawling back, don't say I didn't warn you." Then he walked off, shoulders tense, jaw tight like he was holding something back. When the door clicked closed behind him, I sagged against it. My knees felt weak. First Aaliyah, then Renee, now Marcus showing up like he had some claim on the situation. I needed answers. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to Renee's house. Anger fueled every turn of the steering wheel. I rehearsed what I'd say, every confrontation, every accusation, every piece of truth she needed to hear. But when I pulled up, her car was gone. And so was Aaliyah's. My heart thudded. They weren't home. The curtains were drawn, porch light off, nobody in sight. I circled to the back, knocked on the windows, checked the driveway again. Nothing. Just as I turned to leave, Mrs. Cooper, their nosy but usually friendly next-door neighbor, peeked out from behind her screen door. She waved me over. "Tony, baby, you look shaken. What's going on?" I swallowed hard. "Have you seen them today?" Her expression shifted into something cautious. "They pulled out early this morning, suitcases and all." My stomach twisted. Suitcases? Where were they going? She hesitated. I don't want to be in nobody's business, but Renee said they needed a break from all the mess you were causing." My jaw dropped. "Mess? I'm causing mess?" Mrs. Cooper gave a sympathetic shrug. "I didn't understand it either, but she said you were spiraling again. I told her she ought to sit and talk with you, but you know your sister." Spiraling. That word cut deep because Renee had used it during our childhood every time I questioned her lies, every time I confronted anything she didn't want to deal with. I thanked Mrs. Cooper and got back in my car, feeling utterly stranded. Renee and Aaliyah had packed up and left the house hours before I even realized the money was missing, which meant this wasn't impulsive. This was planned. I drove home in a daze, parked and sat in silence as the evening light dimmed. My phone buzzed repeatedly. Unknown numbers, scam likely, calls. Nothing that helped. My thoughts churned until my chest felt tight. Finally, I forced myself inside, collapsed on the couch, and stared at the ceiling. How could family do this? How could my family do this? My mom used to tell me, blood can bless you or break you. The trick is figuring out which before it's too late. And I, like a fool, always believed Renee would grow out of her jealousy, that Aaliyah would rise above her mother's bitterness. But now they were gone. $42,000 gone, and I didn't even know where to start looking. Hours passed. I paced the apartment, called the bank, filed a fraud report, emailed every contact I had for the business. I tried everything. Sometime past midnight, exhausted, I sank on the floor beside my bed. That's when my phone pinged with a new message from an unknown number. Just 6 words. Stop looking for her. It's done. My blood turned to ice. And then another message. You're next if you keep pushing. I stared at the screen, trembling, because I knew that wasn't from Aaliyah. It wasn't from Renee. It was from someone else altogether. And they knew exactly what they were threatening. The messages glowed on my screen like tiny sparks, threatening to burn my whole life down. I stared at them so long, my eyes blurred, but I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I kept rereading the last one, "You're next if you keep pushing." The words slithered under my skin, cold and poisonous. My first instinct was to call the police. But what exactly would I say? Hi, I trusted my niece with $42,000 and now some unknown person is threatening me? They'd ask for proof. They'd consider Aaliyah an adult with shared business access. They'd tell me it sounded like a civil dispute. No one protects Black women when trouble is just close enough to be dangerous, but not loud enough to be undeniable. I sat on my bedroom floor, phone trembling in my hands, tears burning behind my eyes. My heart thumped in my ears, loud enough to drown out everything else. I tried to steady my breathing the way Mama taught me. Slow inhale, longer exhale, but my chest still felt squeezed between 2 bricks. After a few minutes, I forced myself to stand. If I stayed frozen, I'd drown in my own fear. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and gulped it down, even though my throat was tight. I whispered aloud, "I'm not next. You hear me? I'm not next." I was trying to convince myself. I grabbed my phone again, zooming in on the number. It wasn't one I recognized. Not Aaliyah's, not Renee's, not Marcus's. A burner, maybe, or some random prepaid phone. Someone trying to make sure nothing could be traced back to them. My mind spiraled. Did Marcus send it? Was this tied to whatever Aaliyah stole from him? Or was this something bigger? Something she got herself tangled in because she was too impulsive, too trusting of the wrong men, too hungry for quick money. I locked the doors, checked the windows, even shoved a chair under the doorknob like I was in some low-budget survival movie. But the fear stayed. It sat in my chest like a stone. Around 2 a.m., I finally fell asleep on the couch. My dreams were restless, shadows chasing me, voices whispering my name, money floating through my fingers like sand. When sunlight hit my face, I jolted awake. My neck ached. My mouth felt dry. I checked my phone immediately. No new messages, no calls. Nothing from anyone. The silence was worse. I dragged myself into the shower, letting the hot water beat against my shoulders. I needed clarity. I needed a plan. By the time I wrapped a towel around my hair, I'd made my mind. I needed someone who knew more about trouble than I did. I drove across town to visit someone I hadn't seen in 2 years. My cousin, Darren. Darren wasn't the type you introduced to polite company, but he knew people. He understood the streets, the under-the-table deals, the side hustles, the schemes Aaliyah might have stumbled into. And despite his rough edges, he'd always had a soft spot for me. When Mama died, he was the one who fixed my car for free so I didn't miss work. When Renee and I fought, he was the one who told me, "You ain't crazy. She just loud." I pulled up to his auto shop, a run-down brick building with peeling paint, but a steady stream of customers. Inside, it smelt like motor oil, hot rubber, and old coffee. Darren was under a car hood wiping grease off his hands onto a rag. When he saw me, his face split into a surprised grin. "Look who wandered back from the land of the living. Tony, girl, you look stressed out." "I'm beyond stressed," I said whispered. He raised a brow. "Then come on. Tell me what's going on." I took a deep breath and told him everything. The money, Aaliyah disappearing, Renee defending her, Marcus showing up at my house, the threatening texts. I didn't leave out a single detail. Darren's expression shifted from concern to anger. "That girl did what? $42,000, he repeated, pacing the shop. "And Renee trying to flip the blame on you? I should have known that woman would pull something messy eventually." "I just want my money back," I said, voice cracking. "I don't know who sent those texts, Darren. I don't know what Aaliyah got involved in." He stopped pacing and looked straight at me. "Tony, the street's been talking. Aaliyah's name been floating around. Nothing solid, but enough for me to know this ain't just her being irresponsible. My stomach clenched. What did you hear? That Marcus been making deals with some people he ain't supposed to. And Aaliyah's been right there beside him, thinking she can sweet talk her way through everything. I covered my face with my hands. I should have seen this coming. No, he said firmly. You trusted your family. Ain't nothing wrong about that. They the ones who messed up. He walked over to his cluttered desk, grabbed a notepad, and scribbled something. This the address where Marcus been staying, his cousin's place. If Aaliyah's hiding anywhere, she might have circled back there. My heart raced. Darren, I don't know if I should go looking for her. Somebody threatened me. He nodded. I know. That's why you're not going alone. I blinked. What do you mean? He grabbed his keys. I'm coming with you. Darren, no, you don't have to. Tony, he said low and serious, you blood, and you ain't out here fighting this battle by yourself. A warmth spread through my chest, cutting through the fear. For the first time since the money vanished, I didn't feel completely alone. We drove across town to a rough neighborhood. Boarded windows, faded street signs, loud music blasting from somewhere. Darren parked a block away from the building, a sagging duplex with chipped paint and a crooked porch. Stay behind me, he said. My heart hammered. As we walked up the steps, Darren knocked on the door, firm, unbothered, like he wasn't scared of anything. A few seconds later, the door cracked open. Marcus stood there. Shortless, eyes bloodshot, clearly irritated. Man, what? His eyes landed on me. Everything in his expression changed. Tony, he said low, you shouldn't be here. Darren stepped forward. We ain't here for small talk. Where's Aaliyah? Marcus exhaled sharply, rubbing his forehead like the whole world was tiring him out. I told you already. I don't know. Try again, Darren growled. Marcus hesitated. Then he whispered something that made my knees almost buckle. She skipped town, and she didn't just take your money. She took something else, something that people are looking for, dangerous people. I swallowed hard. What did she take? He leaned closer, eyes darting around like someone might be listening. But before he could answer, tires screeched outside. A black SUV turned the corner at full speed, and then it stopped. Right in front of the house, the door swung open, and men I didn't recognize stepped out, fast, angry, and walking straight towards us. Time slowed the moment those men stepped out of the SUV. 3 of them, all dressed in black hoodies, moving with a cold purpose that made my skin prickle. They didn't stroll, they didn't hesitate. They came toward the porch like they already knew exactly who they were here for. Marcus stiffened. Darren shifted his weight, shoulders squared. Ready. And me, my heart slammed so hard in my chest I could feel it in my teeth. One of the men, a tall, bald one with a long, jagged scar down his cheek, locked eyes with Marcus and said, "We've been looking for you." Marcus's whole posture changed. His bravado drained right out of him. He lifted his hands slightly, palms out. "Hold on now, hold on." Another man cut him off. "Where is it?" The air felt thin. The porch too small, the world too quiet except for the sound of my own breath trembling. Darren stepped in front of me, voice even but sharp. "Y'all need to calm down. Don't bring no mess to this house." Scar looked at him, then at me, then back at Marcus, slowly connecting dots. "Who's she?" Marcus swallowed. Hard. "Nobody. She got nothing to do with this." Scar's eyes narrowed, scanning my face with unsettling awareness, like he could smell fear. "Everybody connected to you has something to do with this." My stomach twisted. Darren's arm came up protectively in front of me. I whispered, "Darren, we should go." But Scar took a step forward. "Not yet." Marcus's voice cracked. "Look, I swear, I'm trying to find her." Scar's jaw clenched. "You told us that yesterday and the day before. And now I hear she took $40-something thousand out of bank account and vanished." My blood froze. They knew. They knew about my money. Scar turned to me, face unreadable. "You the auntie?" I felt like my throat sealed shut. How did they know that? How did they know anything about me? Darren's voice rumbled low. "Back up off her." Scar ignored him. "Your niece owes people. Serious people. She took money that wasn't hers. Money that wasn't yours either." My voice finally found its way out. "I don't know anything about what she's mixed up in. I just want my money back." A harsh laugh escaped Scar. "Sweetheart, your money is the smallest part of the situation." Those words hit me like a slap. Marcus tried a different tactic. "Look, I'm looking for her too. She played all of us. I didn't know she took your stuff, I swear. Scar lunged forward so fast I gasped. He grabbed Marcus by the collar and slammed him against the porch wall. You don't get to swear nothing, Scar hissed. You vouched for her. You brought her in. So whatever she did, you did. Darren stepped forward. Yo, get your hands off him. One of the other men lifted his hoodie just enough to show the handle of a gun. Darren froze, and my knees went weak. Scar shoved Marcus once more before letting him drop. Marcus stumbled, grabbing the railing for balance. Scar pointed a finger at him. You got 48 hours. 48. You find her, you find what she took, or we ain't talking no more. Marcus nodded rapidly, fear written all over him. Scar's gaze slid back to me, cold, assessing, almost curious. And you, he said quietly, should stop looking for her because people start getting hurt when they don't know when to walk away. My breath caught. Darren stepped in front of me again, fists clenched. We done here. Scar didn't blink. For now. He turned sharply, heading back to the SUV. The others followed, one looking back at us long enough for me to feel the threat settle deep in my bones. The vehicle sped off, tires screeching around the corner. Silence swallowed the porch. Marcus wiped sweat from his forehead, hands shaking. Y'all shouldn't have come here. Darren glared at him. What did Aliana take? Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it again. He looked torn, desperate, scared. It ain't safe for you to know. Safe for me? I'm already in danger, Marcus. His eyes softened with something that almost resembled guilt or fear. Look, Aliana got mixed with people she shouldn't have. She was supposed to move something small, just do a quick hold, but she got greedy. When she saw your money cleared, she took everything and dipped. My voice shook. What does she take besides the money? He hesitated long enough that I felt the truth clawing its way toward the surface. Then he whispered, her contacts said it was product. My blood cold. As in drugs? He nodded slowly. I staggered back, gripping the railing. Aliana? My sweet, ambitious, stubborn niece? My niece dealing drugs? Marcus kept talking. She was only supposed to hold it for a day, but when she saw the money and the product together, she ran. Probably thinking she could flip both and disappear. I pressed a shaking hand to my forehead. Oh, God! Darren muttered a curse under his breath. This is bad, Tony. Real bad. I looked at Marcus with growing horror. Why didn't you warn me? Why didn't you say anything before? Because I didn't think she'd drag you into it, he snapped. She told me y'all had a business. She made it sound legit. I didn't know she was using you. My voice cracked. Everyone keeps saying that. But if everyone knew she was a ticking bomb, why am I the only one blindsided? Neither of them answered. I stepped back. I need space. I need to think. Marcus reached out. Tony! I flinched. He let his hand fall. Darren guided me down the steps. Come on, let's get out of here. We got in the car and drove away as my mind spiraled into chaos. Aliana had run off with money and drugs. Dangerous men were hunting her. And now they knew my name, my face, where I lived. I pressed my palms to my eyes as a wave of panic washed over me. I trusted her. I trusted her with everything. We'll figure this out, Darren said softly, but his voice was tight with worry. Halfway home, my phone buzzed. I grabbed it from the cup holder, hoping, praying it was Aliana. It wasn't. It was another unknown number. One new message. You're being watched. My breath hitched. Then a second message. Tell Darren he shouldn't have interfered. I froze. They knew we were together. They knew where we were, which meant whoever sent that message could see me right now. For a moment, I couldn't move. The message stared back at me like an open eye, unblinking, invasive, watching. My grip tightened so hard around the phone, my knuckles whitened. Darren glanced over when he heard my breath hitch. You all right? He asked. I swallowed hard. Darren, they know we're together. He frowned. What you mean? I turned the screen toward him. His jaw clenched. His eyes narrowed. Tony, don't panic. They bluffing, trying to scare you. But his voice had that low, tight tremor he only got when he was scared. I looked out the window, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my fingertips. Cars passed by, people walked their dogs, kids rode their bikes, and yet I felt exposed, like every face peering our way was really watching me, studying me, reporting back to someone. I whispered, what if they're not bluffing? Darren didn't answer. His hand tightened on the steering wheel. We pulled into my apartment complex. He scanned the parking lot, checking corners, watching shadows. He was always careful, but this was different. This was the kind of careful that comes with adrenaline. Tony, get your stuff. You staying in my place tonight. I shook my head. No, I can't. I don't want to bring trouble to you. You think trouble not already looking at us? He said quietly. Girl, get your bag. I hesitated, but I couldn't deny it. My apartment felt like a trap now, a place someone could break into, a place they could confront me alone. I nodded. Inside, I grabbed my essentials, a few clothes, my documents, charger, and the folder with all the business plans I'd been working on. I'd spent months refining those plans, dreaming of the catering business, imagining what it would feel like to finally be my own boss. I hated leaving that dream behind even temporarily. As I packed, Darren stood by the door, watching the hallway. His presence calmed me enough to move. I took a last look around my apartment. The soft couch, the pictures of Mama on the wall, the plants I nursed back to life, and whispered a silent prayer for protection. But just as we stepped back out into the hallway, something on the ground caught my eye. A small white envelope. No stamp, no name, just placed there, right on my doormat. My stomach dropped. What's that? Darren asked, stepping forward. I don't know, I whispered. Don't touch it, he warned. But something in me, dread, instinct, curiosity, made me bend down anyway. My fingers trembled as I opened the flap. Inside was a single folded sheet of paper. I opened it slowly, my breath caught. Printed cleanly in black ink. You're running out of time. Below that sentence, a photo of me and Darren getting into the car at Marcus's house. My knees nearly buckled. Darren grabbed my arm. Tony, this ain't no random mess. They watching you close. I pressed the photo against my chest. My heart felt like it was trying to leap out of me. Then Darren's phone buzzed. He lifted it, but the color drained from his face the second he saw the screen. What? I asked, voice thin. He turned the phone so I could see. Another unknown number. A message. Marcus has 2 days. You have 1. My head swum. 1 day for what? Darren read the next line before I could. His voice cracked. To bring back what Aliala stole. I staggered back, gripping the railing. Darren, I don't even know what she took. I don't know where she is. He grabbed my shoulders. Look at me. Look at me. I forced myself to meet his eyes. We're gonna figure this out, but we gotta be smart. These ain't people you argue with. These are people who don't mind making examples out of folks. Tears burned my eyes. I trusted her. I trusted her with everything. Why would she do this to me? Darren's face softened. Because she's scared, or stupid, or desperate, but I know she didn't mean to drag you into this. I wiped my cheeks. Intent doesn't matter now. Exactly. So we need a plan. I nodded, though nothing felt steady. What kind of plan? One that keeps you alive, he said simply. We hurried down the stairs, but halfway to the car, I stopped. My phone buzzed again. My whole body froze. I forced myself to look. A new text from the same unknown number. Don't leave the city. My chest tightened painfully. Another text arrived instantly. We'll be checking. Darren read over my shoulder and cursed low. Okay, that seals it. We need to figure out exactly who these people are. I shook my head. No, Aliala knows. She has to. She's the one who connected to them. We got in the car and I slammed the door shut like it could protect me from the whole world. Darren started the engine. We're going to someone who might know more. Who? He hesitated. His eyes flicked toward me. Then he said, Marcus's cousin, the one he stays with sometime. She used to run with some heavy people before she got clean. Darren, is that safe? No, he said flatly, but neither is sitting around waiting for these messages to turn into something real. I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to gather myself. When I opened them, a dark sedan was parked across from my building, engine running, windows tinted, watching, waiting, my breath caught in my chest. Darren, they're here, I whispered, pointing. He slammed the car in reverse. Tony, buckle up. As we pulled away fast, the sedan slowly rolled forward, following, not rushing, not hiding, just letting us know they were close. Only when we turned onto the freeway and the sedan didn't follow, I let myself breathe again. But that relief lasted only seconds, because just as my heart began to settle, Darren said, there's something you need to know before we talk to anybody. Something about Aliala. I turned slowly. What? He hesitated, gripping the wheel. Tony, Aliala didn't just steal money or product. My pulse quickened. She stole from the wrong man. Darren whispered, and you're not the only one they're threatening. I stared at him, dread crawling up my spine. Darren, what are you trying to say? He swallowed hard. Aliala might have stolen something that could get the both of us killed. For a few seconds, I couldn't even hear the road beneath us. It felt like all the sound in the world cut out at once, like my body was bracing for something I didn't yet understand. I stared at Darren's profile, his jaw tight, his knuckles stiff around the wheel. Darren, I whispered, what exactly did Aaliyah take? He exhaled slow. Tony, this ain't something I wanted to tell you like this. You already scared. I didn't want to pile on. Tell me anyway, he hesitated. You know when Marcus went through that whole thing earlier this year? When he was mixed up with that guy named Brick? I frowned. Brick, the one from the east side? The one Mama always warned him about? Yeah, him. My stomach dropped. Brick wasn't just a neighborhood problem. He was the kind of man people spoke about in low tones. A man who didn't raise his voice because he didn't need to. His reputation did the shouting for him. What does Brick have to do with Aaliyah? I asked. He gripped the wheel harder. Brick had Marcus running errands for him. Nothing big, little drop-offs, picking up packages. Marcus wanted money fast. You know how he gets. I know, I said quietly. Well, one of those packages, Darren paused, trying to phrase it gently, wasn't exactly something legal. My blood chilled. Darren, what was in it? He looked at me with eyes that said, you already know. Drugs. Or money, or both. I didn't need him to say it. He continued anyway. Marcus didn't know the full details. He was just trying to make quick money. But Aaliyah, she was around, and she paid attention. What are you saying? I'm saying she saw something, heard something, found something she had no business touching. I felt the car growing smaller around me, the air thicker. Darren, what did she take? He swallowed. A package. A small one, but worth a lot more than your $42,000. My heart lurched painfully. Are you telling me she stole from Brick? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm telling you. I covered my face with both hands. Oh God, oh God. He pulled off to the side of the road and turned to me. Tony, listen to me. Brick doesn't care that you didn't take anything. He doesn't care that you didn't know. He doesn't care that it was your niece. But why drag me into this Why not just chase her? Because Aaliyah told them you were involved. No, she would never. He cut me off gently. Tony, people do crazy things when they're desperate. I felt my chest tighten painfully. So she tried to put it on me? Not fully. She didn't say you stole it, but she said you knew about it, that you were holding the money, that y'all were in it together. I felt physically sick. Why would she say that? Because Brick was already threatening her. Because she panicked. Because she thought pointing them towards someone stable would buy her time. Stable? You mean me? The one who helped her? The one who believed in her? He put a hand on my shoulder. I'm sorry, T. I am. But that's what Marcus told me. My mind raced, trying to process the betrayal layered on top of danger, layered on top of fear. So Brick thinks I have the package, or know where it is, or know where she is. But I don't. I don't know anything. And that's the problem, Darren said softly. I leaned back, heart pounding like it wanted out of my chest. Okay. So what do we do? If we talk to Marcus's cousin, what will she even tell us? That's the thing, Darren said carefully. His cousin, Nia, used to be real close to Brick's people before she got clean. She knows how they operate. She knows where they hang, who they trust, who Brick listens to. So she can help us find Aaliyah? Maybe. Or at least help us figure out what exactly Aaliyah took. Because whatever it was, Brick wants it bad. We merged back onto the road. The sky was getting dark, and for the first time in my life, dusk felt like danger. I stared out the window, eyes scanning every car, every shadow, every pair of headlights behind us. After a long silence, I whispered, Darren, if Brick is involved, how long do we have? He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was low and grim. Tony, when Brick gives you a deadline, yes, he expects you to meet it. Or he sends people to meet you. A tremor went through me. How close are we to Nia's place? I asked, voice shaking. About 15 minutes. She stays in River Terrace now. I nodded weakly. But just as we crossed the bridge towards River Terrace, my phone vibrated again. Darren and I exchanged a terrified glance. I opened the message with trembling fingers. It was a picture of Nia's front door. Under it, the message, don't bother. My breath froze in my throat. Another message came instantly. She won't help you. Darren stared at at the screen, jaw clenched. "Tony," he whispered, "they already know where we're going." My blood turned cold. "Darren, someone's watching us right now." He didn't deny it. He just pressed the gas harder, eyes sharp, trying not to show how scared he was. But the trembling in his hands told me everything. And then my phone buzzed again, a final message. A short one, only 2 words. "Turn around."
Darren slammed his foot on the brakes so hard, my seatbelt snapped tight across my chest. The car lurched to a stop on the shoulder, the tires making a deep scraping sound on the gravel. I stared at the 2 words glowing on my screen. "Turn around." My hands trembled so badly I nearly dropped the phone. My voice cracked as I whispered, "Darren, they're watching us right now. They're watching every move." He ran a hand over his face, breath harsh, eyes darting across the road, the bridge, the rearview mirror. "Tony, don't panic. That's what they want. They want you jumpy. They want you scared and sloppy." "Well, congratulations to them," I snapped, my voice high-pitched and breaking, "because I am scared. Darren, they texted me a picture of Nia's door, her door. They're right there before we even arrive. They know where we're going before we get there." "I know," he said quietly. "Which means they're not tracking you." I frowned, confused. "What does that mean?" "They're tracking the destination, not your phone." "But how?" His jaw clenched. "Because someone told them." My stomach twisted violently. "Are you saying someone from your family?" "No," he cut in quickly. "No. Everyone in my family is terrified of Brick. Ain't nobody volunteering information." "Then what?" He looked at me, expression tightening into something grim. "Someone in your family." My heart cracked like thin ice. "No," I whispered. "Darren, not again. Not more betrayal, not more from my side." "Then how do they know where we're headed?" he asked softly. I hugged my arms around myself, as if I could hold my insides together. I don't know anything anymore." Darren leaned over and clicked off the engine. "We can't go to Nia's. That's done. Whoever sent that message, they're probably already at her place waiting, maybe even inside." My throat tightened painfully. "Do you think Nia's okay?" "I hope so, but Brick's people don't do polite visits." The wind outside rocked the car gently, but it felt violent, like even the air was warning us to move. "Okay," I breathed. "Okay, so we can't go to Nia, but we can still go to the police, right? We can still report?" "No," he said sharply. "If you go to the police now, Brick will take that as you choosing a side. And once you do, it's war. And babe, police can't protect you from people like him." My heart pounded against my ribs. "So what do we do?" He looked at me with the seriousness I had never seen in him. "We find Aaliyah. Before Brick does." I closed my eyes, overwhelmed by the weight of that mission. "How? We don't know where she is. She won't answer the phone. She probably ran out of state." He shook his head. "Nah, she's not far." "What makes you say that?" "Because she didn't run from you. She ran from them. Big difference." I turned the phone off and tossed it into my purse, as if that could sever the invisible strings tugging at us. Darren started the car again, moving slowly, cautiously. "We're going to figure this out," he said, though I could hear the crack in his voice. "But first, we gotta get somewhere safe." I let out a humorless laugh. "Safe where? Brick has eyes everywhere." "We go somewhere nobody knows I take you. Not your family, not mine. Somewhere off the grid." I looked at him, fear and disbelief pushing against each other. "And where is that exactly?" He hesitated just long enough to scare me. "My uncle's old auto shop. He passed a few years ago. The place has been empty since. It's out by the industrial park. Nobody goes there unless they got a reason." The idea of hiding in some abandoned auto shop felt like something out of a movie, and not the kind where everything ends well. But I nodded. Okay, let's go." We pulled onto a side road, avoiding the main highway. I felt every shadow pressing closer, every car behind us staying too long, every streetlight flickering like a warning. 15 minutes later, we turned onto a cracked, narrow road with weeds growing up the sides. A rusty chain-link fence surrounded a long, abandoned auto repair lot. The sign, D&J Custom Motors, lay crooked, the paint peeling. Darren got out to open the gate. I watched him the whole time, terrified something would move in the darkness behind him. Inside, he parked behind the main garage, hidden from the street. When he shut off the engine, silence took over. Heavy, suffocating silence. "Come on," he whispered. The garage door creaked loudly as he lifted it. The place smelled like dust, metal, and old oil. Faded tools still hung on the walls. A broken radio sat on a counter. The office door and back had a cracked window. It was empty, but it didn't feel safe. Darren grabbed a flashlight from a drawer and checked the corners, the office, the back door. All clear, he said. Finally, I leaned against a workbench, trying to steady my breathing. Darren, what if they follow us here? They won't, he said with a confidence I wish I shared. Nobody knows about this place except me. Well, someone seems to know every move we make, I whispered. He didn't argue. Instead, he pulled out his phone. What are you doing? I asked nervously. I'm calling Marcus. My chest tightened. You think he'll help? I think he'll talk. He's scared too. He put the call on speaker. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then a voice, shaky and small. Darren? Darren stiffened. Marcus, you need to answer something straight. No games, no lies. Okay? Darren looked at me before asking, who told Brick we were going to Nia's? Silence, then a breath. Then it was Mama.
For a moment, the world went so still I could hear my heartbeat echoing inside that empty garage. My ears rang, my vision blurred for a second, and I knew I had misheard him. Mama? I whispered, voice brittle as cracked glass. Marcus, what did you just say? On speaker, Marcus sniffled hard, like he was trying not to cry. Tony, please don't be mad. Please don't. Answer the question, Darren snapped, pacing in a tight circle. Tell us why your mama would tell Brick anything about where we were going. My pulse hammered so violently it felt like it shook the whole room. Tony, Marcus said in a shaky breath, Mama didn't mean to. She wasn't trying to set you up. I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. Oh, so she snitched on me by accident? That's what you're telling me? No, Marcus said quickly. Not snitching. She thought she was helping. Helping who? I yelled. Us or them? Silence, thick, heavy, condemning. Darren stepped closer to the phone. Marcus, explain. Now. Marcus inhaled deeply, bracing himself. Brick's guy, Tank, came by the house. I felt the air exit my lungs in one hard, painful gust. Tank was at Mama's house? Yes, Marcus whispered. He showed up this afternoon, said he just wanted to talk. You know Tank. He smiles when he's about to do something bad. Mama saw him grinning and she got scared. Darren cursed under his breath. So she what? I snapped. What did she do, Marcus? She called me. She asked what y'all were planning. I didn't have the details yet because I hadn't talked to Darren. So she called around trying to figure out where you might go. And somebody told her Nia, Darren muttered. Yes, Marcus said, voice small. Cousin Denise mentioned it. She said something about you and Tony trying to meet someone from your old life. I closed my eyes in a slow, burning exhale. Denise, the family gossip machine. The woman who always says she didn't talk much, but somehow knew everything by sunrise. So Mama told Tank. I said quietly. She didn't know he was Tank. He didn't introduce himself like that. He just said his name was James. Said he was worried about Aliata too. Said he wanted to help. Oh my God, I whispered. And you know Mama. She trusts anybody with the clean shirt and polite voice. She told him everything she knew. That y'all were asking about Nia, that y'all were heading that way today. I felt my knees wobble. That was all it took. One scared older, one smooth lie, one slip of information, and Brick's people knew exactly where we were going. Tony, Marcus said softly, Mama didn't know. She wasn't trying to put you in danger. I pressed my hand to my eyes, tears burning hot against my palm. But she did, I whispered. Whether she meant to or not, she did. Darren took the phone off speaker and held it to his ear. Marcus, listen, you gotta tell us everything you know, because right now Brick thinks Tony is holding something that belongs to him, and his people are already 2 steps ahead. I know I messed up, but I swear I'm not on their side. Then help us, Darren demanded. Where's Aliata? Somebody in your family knows something. Don't lie. There was a long, shaky silence. I leaned against the workbench, my breath shallow, my mind racing with terror and betrayal. Then Marcus exhaled. She called me. My eyes snapped open. When? 2 hours ago. Before y'all even left the hospital. My chest tightened painfully. What did she say? That she messed up, that she took the package, but she didn't mean to take that package. She thought it was money she could put back later. But when she opened it, she realized it wasn't cash. What was it? Darren asked. He hesitated.
I don't know. She wouldn't say. She was crying too hard. I shook my head slowly. Marcus, did she say where she was? Yes. My entire body jolted. Where? She said she was hiding at some house out by the Beltway. Something about a friend from school. But she didn't give me the address. She said she'd call back with it. And did she? I asked, dread crawling up my spine. No, of course not. Of course she didn't. Darren's jaw clenched. Marcus, does Brick know this? I don't think so. He paused. But if Tank already went to Mama's house, he might have talked to Denise too. He might know more than he's saying. I felt a low chill roll through me. Marcus, did Aaliyah call you and not me? He hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. Marcus, answer me. She was scared. She knew she did you wrong, Tony. She was ashamed. Ashamed? I cried through fresh tears. She stole $42,000 from me. She left me to deal with Brick. And now she's ashamed? Tony, Darren said quietly, touching my arm. Breathe. But I couldn't, because everything inside me was caving in. My family, my niece, my mama's fear, my money, my reputation, my safety. Everything was unraveling at once. I'll call you back, Darren said to Marcus, and ended the call. Silence filled the space between us. Tense, vibrating, dangerous. Then Darren turned to me. Tony, we need to leave here. I swallowed hard. To go where? He hesitated. I hated when he hesitated. To find Aliata, he said finally, before Brick's people do. I rubbed my hands over my face, shaking. Darren, I don't even know where to start. He looked toward the garage door as if expecting shadows to ooze under it. Then he whispered, I do. My breath caught. What do you mean? She said she's with a friend from school, out by the Beltway. He said carefully, there's only one person she used to hang with out there. My heart thudded. Who? I whispered. Darren met my eyes. Her old roommate, Jayla. A cold dread spread through my chest, because I knew exactly who Jayla was, and Jayla was worse news than Brick ever could be. Before I could react, a sudden metallic clang echoed from outside the garage. I froze. Darren's eyes widened. Something or someone was moving just beyond the garage door.
The metallic clang struck the garage door again, louder this time, sharper, like someone was dragging something heavy across the gravel. I felt every muscle in my body lock at once, my breath turning to ice inside my chest. Darren put one finger to his lips. I nodded slowly, barely breathing. Another sound came, a soft scrape, like a boot brushing against metal. Then a shadow moved across the thin gap at the bottom of the garage door, a long, stretched silhouette that didn't belong to anything inside. Darren grabbed the small flashlight and clicked it off, plunging us into near darkness except for the faint glow from a street lamp outside. The silence that followed was heavy and alive, like it was waiting to see what we'd do next. I whispered so quietly I barely heard myself, "Is it them?" Darren's voice was low, steady, but strained with fear. "I don't know yet." He stepped closer to the garage door, careful, slow, placing each foot down without sound. Every inch he moved made my stomach knot tighter. I could hear my heartbeat thudding in my ears so loud I worried whoever was outside might hear it too. Another noise, a firm tap, not like knocking, more like someone checking the structure, testing it. "They know we're in here," I whispered, gripping the edge of the workbench so hard my knuckles ached. "Not necessarily," Darren murmured. "Could be a raccoon. Could be a stray dog." I shot him a look in the dimness. A raccoon is not dragging metal in a pattern. He didn't argue. We waited. Long, tense seconds of absolute stillness. Then a voice came from outside. A slow, drawling voice that sounded amused. Too amused. "Darren, I know you in there, man." My blood turned to pure ice. The voice laughed. "You gon' make me stand out here all night?" Darren's shoulders stiffened. He knew the voice. I knew it too, by reputation only. Tank, Brick's right hand. The man who smiled while doing the worst things. Darren motioned for me to stay back. My heart nearly exploded from fear. Darren tapped on the door again, gentler this time, like knocking on a friend's front porch. "This old garage door ain't got no insulation. You think I can't hear you two holding your breath?" Darren whispered, barely audible. "Do not move." I forced myself to stay still, though every instinct screamed at me to run, hide, do something. Tank spoke again, this time with a tone that wasn't friendly at all. "Look, ain't nobody trying to hurt y'all. We just want to talk. Brick just wants his stuff back, that's all." Lies. The way he said it made my skin crawl. Darren finally called out, voice hard but steady, We don't have it, and we don't know where it is. Tank chuckled low. See, I figured you'd say that. A long pause. Then, thing is, I ain't out here for you. Darren's eyes darted to mine, panic flashing behind them. Tank continued, I'm here for Miss Tony. My stomach flipped so violently I thought I'd be sick. Darren stepped between me and the door, body tense, protective. She ain't coming out. Tank didn't get angry. He didn't raise his voice. His tone stayed calm. Too calm. Oh, she will, 'cause Brick ain't the patient type, and he's expecting results by midnight. Midnight. A deadline. My throat closed. Tank tapped on the door again with something metal. A pipe? A crowbar? Something heavy. Now I can open this door the easy way, or the ugly way. Up to y'all, Darren whispered to me without turning around. Get to the back office, now! I didn't argue. I slipped into the small office at the back of the garage, my legs shaking so hard I almost tripped. The room smelled like old paper and mildew. A cracked window sat above a beat-up desk. Darren followed me in and locked the flimsy door. Stay low, he whispered. If anything happens, go out that window. What about you? I whispered desperately. He kissed my forehead. I'm not leaving you. A loud bang echoed from the garage, Tank hitting the door harder. Tick-tock, he sang. Y'all running out of grace. I crouched beneath the window, trying to steady my breathing, my mind racing with the thought that everything, my life, my dignity, my future, was about to be decided by a man with a crowbar. Another bang. The door groaned like it might give. Darren positioned himself by the office door, tense and ready. Then, my phone vibrated. I nearly jumped out of my skin. A message popped up. From an unknown number? My hands shook as I opened it. A single line. Don't trust Darren. I stared at the message, confusion striking me harder than fear. What? I mouthed silently. Then another text came immediately after. He knows more than he told you. I felt dizzy. I looked at Darren, breathing hard, fists clenched, ready to defend me, ready to face Tank, and my mind spun. The man who drove me here, the man who protected me, the man who said he wanted to help find Aaliyah. A third message buzzed through. Ask him why Jayla called him first. My entire world tilted. What? I whispered aloud before I could stop myself. Darren snapped his head toward me. What is it? I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. Then Tank slammed the door so hard the metal screamed. Last chance, Darren. I looked down at my phone again, and another message appeared. The one that turned my blood to fire. Darren wasn't protecting you. He was protecting Aaliyah. I slowly lifted my gaze to Darren, and for the first time since this nightmare began, I wasn't sure if he was my ally or the reason we were running in the first place.
The next morning, I woke up to 3 missed calls and 1 message from Arya's husband, Vikram, a man who never contacted me unless it benefited them. His message read, "Call me. It's urgent." My stomach tightened. Either Arya had resurfaced or there was a new disaster waiting for me. I called him back and he answered instantly, like he'd been staring at his phone. "Hattie," he said breathlessly, "you need to come to our house. Now." I froze. "Why?" "It's about Arya," he said. "She showed up last night." My heart slammed. "Showed up where?" "At home," he said. "And she's not okay." For a moment, I didn't know whether to feel relieved, furious, or terrified. "Did she say anything about the money?" I asked. There was a pause. Too long. "She said you're trying to ruin her life." I closed my eyes, exhaustion washing over me. Of course. Of course that would be her story. "Vikram," I said quietly. "She stole $42,000 from me. She left the state. She left me to take the blame. I have proof." Another pause. "Hattie, just come. You need to hear what she has to say." I didn't want to go. I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to hear any more lies. That something in his voice, a tremble I'd never heard before, told me this wasn't just drama. This was serious. I grabbed my keys and drove to their house, my mind racing with every possibility. When I pulled up, Vikram was waiting outside, pacing, his hair messy, his eyes sunken. "She's inside," he said. "But before you go in, you should know something." My heart pounded. "What?" He swallowed, voice cracking. "She's been gone for 6 weeks. But last night she told me she wasn't running away. I froze. She said someone was threatening her, he whispered, and that she had no choice. A chill ran straight down my spine. Someone else? Involved with the money? Involved with her disappearance? This was the first time the possibility even crossed my mind. I stepped toward the doorway, my pulse thundering. Where is she now? I asked. Vikram pointed inside. He said, in the guest room, but be prepared. I hesitated. Prepared for what? He looked at me with a seriousness that made my blood run cold. Hattie, she's not the same person you knew.
I stood in the hallway outside the guest room, my hand hovering over the door frame, trying to steady my breathing. I had prepared myself for a storm. Yelling, excuses, denial, maybe even her trying to run again. What I had not prepared for was silence so heavy it felt like the whole house was holding its breath. When I finally stepped inside, the sight of Arya nearly knocked the wind out of me. She wasn't pacing, she wasn't smirking, she wasn't rolling her eyes or offering one of those dramatic speeches she always rehearsed in her reflection. Instead, she sat curled up on the edge of the bed like a child who'd been forgotten somewhere. Her knees pressed to her chest. Her fingers gripped the hem of her hoodie like she was trying to hold herself together. And her eyes, Lord, her eyes, they weren't defiant or guilty. They were haunted. She looked up at me, then flinched, like she didn't recognize me at first. Auntie Hattie? Her voice cracked, more broken than I had ever heard it in her whole 28 years of living. I felt every ounce of anger, frustration, and righteous fury drain out of me all at once. What replaced it wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but something deeper, something heavier, fear. What happened to you, baby? I asked, stepping slowly toward her. You look like you've been running from a ghost. She shook her head fiercely. You shouldn't have come here. Why not? Because it's not safe, not for me, and not for you either. I felt something tighten in my chest. Arya, you disappeared for months. You took $42,000 that wasn't yours. I've been chasing your shadow across 3 states. I need to understand what's going on. She swallowed hard, her shoulders trembling. I didn't want to take the money. I swear I didn't. Then why did you? Her lower lip quivered. Because I was told to. My stomach dropped. Told by who? She pressed her forehead against her knees. I can't say their name. Yes, you can. I kept my voice soft. You're safe here. Her whole body jolted. I'm not safe. Haven't been for a long time. You think I wanted to abandon you? Leave you to face the banks? Lose the storefront? I wasn't living some glamorous life. I was hiding, running, trying to keep you out of something I never should have gotten into. My pulse hammered. Arya, what did you do? She didn't answer. All she did was reach trembling fingers into the pocket of her hoodie and pull out a shattered cell phone. Screen cracked, back dented, like somebody stomped it flat in anger. I tried to call you, she whispered. They destroyed everything I had. My throat tightened. This wasn't the face of a thief. This was the face of someone terrified. Arya, I said gently. Look at me. She did, slowly, like it hurt. I don't care what happened. I don't care who's after you, but I need the truth so I can help you. Her voice dropped to a trembling whisper. Auntie Hattie, that money wasn't just for the store. What do you mean? It was supposed to pay off a debt, not mine. She swallowed again. My mom's. I froze. Her mother, my sister, the same woman who disappeared when the heat got too heavy, the same woman who taught Arya how to manipulate and charm her way through life, the same woman who refused every chance to come clean. What kind of debt? I asked quietly, her eyes filled with tears. The kind you don't walk away from. A chill ran straight through my bones. Who's she owe? She shook harder, voice raw. Auntie, they followed me here. My blood turned cold. What do you mean they followed you? Arya wiped her eyes with the sleeve of her hoodie. They want the money back. All of it, plus interest. And they don't care who they hurt to get it. My knees nearly buckled. $42,000 wasn't debt. It was a ransom. Arya, I said, whispering, who is outside this house right now? She looked toward the window, slowly, painfully, then whispered a single name, a name I hadn't heard in almost 15
15 years. A name that made my stomach twist and my breath catch like someone had grabbed my lungs with their bare hands. No, I said out loud before I could stop myself. That man is in prison. He has to be. Arya shook her head. Not anymore. I stumbled back a step. This wasn't just about money. This was about survival. Arya, I whispered, voice breaking. Please don't open the door. Please don't go outside. They already saw your car. The room went silent. Then, from somewhere outside, came the soft, unmistakable sound of gravel shifting under tires. Someone had pulled into my driveway.
The sound of tires crunching over my driveway felt like a fist closing around my throat. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just stared at Arya, who looked like she was moments from collapsing in on herself. Her fingers twisted in her hoodie, knuckles white, eyes huge and terrified. "Stay here," I whispered. "No, Auntie, please don't go out there," she hissed, grabbing my wrist. Her hand shook so violently it made my skin buzz. "I'm not letting danger sit on my front porch," I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounded. "Not without knowing what it wants." "It wants the money," her voice cracked, "and they think you have it." I stopped. Why would they think I have it? Arya's gaze dropped to the carpet. "Because when Mama ran, she told them you were the one who handled the business money. She said you'd be the easiest one to get to." My entire body went cold. My sister, my own blood, hadn't just left me with debt. She had left me as a target. I gently pried Arya's fingers from my wrist. "You stay behind me, no matter what." She shook her head violently. "You don't understand. These people aren't like the folks you talked down at the bank. They don't negotiate. They don't feel sorry for nobody." But it was too late. Whoever was outside already knew we were aware of them. A loud, deliberate knock echoed through my house. 3 slow, heavy thuds. I felt my pulse slam against my ribcage. Arya whimpered, Please don't open it." But I had no intention of opening it. Instead, I moved quietly to the side window beside the front door, lifting the edge of the curtain just enough to see outside. A black SUV sat in my driveway, tinted windows, no plates. A man stood on my porch, tall, thick-built, broad shoulders beneath a black jacket, head shaved, a scar slashed across his jaw like someone tried to carve him open years ago. And when he lifted his chin slightly, I recognized him. Jason Cole, a man my sister once dated, a man she once promised she could handle, a man who nearly tore our family apart years ago, and a man who absolutely was not supposed to be walking free. My mouth went dry. He knocked again, louder. "Auntie Hattie," Arya whispered behind me, "he doesn't let people walk away." I straightened, my heart pounding so hard it echoed in my ears. I stepped away from the door and grabbed my phone. "What are you doing?" Arya cried. Something I should have done a long time ago. I dialed 911. Before they could answer, Jason's voice rumbled from the porch. "Hattie Pinky," he drawled, like he was greeting an old neighbor. "I know you're in there. We need to talk." Arya pressed both hands over her mouth to stifle a sob. The dispatcher answered. 911, what's your emergency? "This is Hattie Pinky. There's a dangerous man trespassing on my property. I need police immediately." Jason knocked again, a deep thud that shook the door. "That's your little niece in there with you. She ran pretty far. Shame she didn't run fast enough." Arya slid down the wall, panting like she couldn't get air. Panic attack. I knelt beside her, holding her shoulders. "Look at me. Breathe with me." She tried, failed, tried again. Heavy footsteps sounded on the porch, pacing, waiting. "Officers are on their way," the dispatcher said. "Stay on the line." A flicker of headlights appeared down the street, faint but approaching. Jason noticed. He cursed under his breath. Then, mercifully, he walked off the porch and toward his vehicle. He didn't peel off fast. He didn't run. He left slow, like he wanted me to know he wasn't done. The SUV turned the corner just as the police cruiser appeared. The next few minutes were a blur of flashing lights, officers at the door, a trembling Arya trying to explain fragments of the truth, and me holding her close as she spiraled. By the time the house quieted again and the officers filed the report, Arya was collapsed against me, exhausted. "Why didn't you tell me sooner? I thought I could fix it before it reached you, but you didn't have to face this alone." She started to cry, silent tears soaking my shirt. "Baby, listen to me. You may have made mistakes, but you ran because you were scared, and you came back because you needed help. That's not weakness. That's human." She nodded slowly, eyes red. In the days that followed, the police launched an investigation. Jason Colt was discovered violating parole. My sister's involvement became clear, and the business, the one I thought was dead, received a community grant after I opened up about what happened. I rebuilt, slowly, painfully, determinedly. So did Aria. She paid back every dollar she could by working beside me morning to night. And in that healing, we found something stronger than the betrayal, stronger than the fear, stronger than the debt or the danger. Family, real family, is the love that survives the fire. And when we reopened the storefront 6 months later, the ribbon trembling in my hands, I felt a peace I didn't think I'd ever feel again. A peace I earned, a peace we earned. If you learned something new from my life story, please like this video, subscribe for more stories like mine, and comment down below where you're watching this video from. I truly love to know.